and talk about, it says there, the top 10 left fielders in MLB in 2024. All right. So we have been going over um, all the positions here. So we got a few left. We're going to do center field, right field. We are going to do a DH on pitchers, top 10 starting pitchers, top 10 relief pitchers. We are going to go ahead and do that here. Baseball season is upon us. We're going to talk Orioles here in a second. Top 10 pitchers and catchers are reporting. I think it is tomorrow. So, all right. So that's where we're going to go ahead and talk here. But let's talk about the larger MLB, the outfielders. Who is the top 10 outfielders now in the MLB in baseball? Here's a guy, Nolan Jones, super underrated. I love, first of all, with him, he played right field last year. He played a little center. He's going to throw you out from the outfield. I think his throwing arm is enormously underrated. A lot of times that's not talked about with a guy as far as like an outfielder, his defense. His swing, look at it. It looks like the guy he reminds me of, even though he's an outfield, old school guy, Will Clark from the Giants years ago. I used to love to watch him swing. That's kind of who he reminds me of. Wearing that 22 and that swing, and he tremendous throwing arm. Very underrated. This young guy could be much higher, but he still really hasn't established himself yet. Really, still young, but he could jump up higher on here. But I couldn't put him higher. He hasn't done a whole lot yet. But Nolan Jones, really, lots of potential at number 9. Spencer Steer, first base last year at parts as well. Gonna play a little left field this year for the Reds. So this is one of their building blocks here. This guy definitely has the opportunity. Another one here couldn't really. It wouldn't shock me if he's like, if we're doing this list next year and he's got 24 home runs, he's got 30 plus home runs, he's got 100 RBIs. He's got that type of power as well. Defensively, not as good as Jones, but I think the power potential is enormous for him. Here's our guy, Austin Hayes. Austin Hayes, shout out to him. They've been trying to replace him for a long time, as much as they're going to say it. Him and Santander, for him to make an all-star game last year, shout out to him. He's a good, solid, all-around outfielder. His defense is solid. His hitting is solid. His power is solid. He's just solid. He's just solid all the way around. Really worked his way through. Not the golden boy at all. Been able, and it seems silly, but he's been able to stave off a lot of really good outfield prospects. So good for him. Austin Hayes, I think he's in the top 10 in the league. I thought he was very deserving of the All-Star game. I don't think it could be his last one. Number 8, Austin Hayes. Brandon Nimmo, now playing left field for the Mets. The potential here is tremendous. He kind of, I will say, some people would say he hasn't fully lived up to his potential, but he's got a lot of like raw ability. I think he's one of these guys who has a lot of real raw skill. That's a lack of a better term. But some guy, he doesn't need 3 hours in the batting cage to get hits. Like he can just do it with his swing and his stride. Another one, I really like his swing. Brandon Nimmo, number 7, good defensively. I understand though if somebody says he hasn't lived up to his full potential, that's why he's not a little bit higher. But Brandon Nimmo's really good. Here's probably the Pirates' best player, Brian Reynolds. He's been in trade talks like every year. That's just part of being a Pirate, man. He's been pretty good though the whole time. I mean, he's got 20 plus home runs, 80 RBIs. You could definitely pencil that in for him. I think he's here because I don't think he's going to do better than that. I think he's about where he's going to be. I think that's about what he is. I think that's why they couldn't trade him or get too much for him, because this is about where he is. But he's pretty good. I mean, definitely I think on a different team, he wouldn't have that high of a ranking, but he's pretty good. I think pretty good. There's nothing wrong with that with him. He possibly can make an all-star game, another all-star game as well. Interesting. Steve Kwan. I didn't say the Indians this week. I said the Guardians. Steve Kwan. Steve Kwan's fantastic. I think he is as good of a leadoff guy. I like these type of guys. I like a leadoff guy. a tone setter, a table setter, great speed, hits the ball very well, great batting average. He's going to have, it's not going to be worse at 290. He's going to get a lot of steals. The problem is, it's kind of like running back in football. The value in a guy like this, people don't have for it like they used to, but he's fantastic. I think he's great defensively, great hitter, not really going to hit for power. That's the thing. But he does everything else very, very well. Steve Kwan, I have him at number 5. Dodgers now are going to put him in left field. There's a guy also, great throwing arm. How protected is he in that great Dodger lineup in there with those great hitters that they have? Sky's the limit for this guy. I really think he's a guy you can put him in the 30, 100 category as well. Hasn't done it yet, but in that lineup with Freeman and Ohtani and Will Smith and those guys, better watch out for this guy and Betts and all that. Definitely, he's a guy kind of going under the radar. I think you put him out in left field, I think he's a top 4 guy. Really do. Definitely lots of potential. He's been around that 2080 mark. He could definitely break out. I have Yelich maybe higher than what you thought. I do think they're still there. The power seems to be diminishing. So I think that's what everybody focuses on, but I think he's still really good. He hits for average well. He's still a guy in the lineup, I think, that kind of has plate. I know, like that's kind of a thing. Like I watch a lot of these top 10. They rattle off all these metrics, but I'm gonna give you one: plate presence. He's always had it. Somebody who stands up at the plate and he absolutely has the plate presence. He absolutely hits the ball still well. Is he in diminish? Possibly, but I think he's due for a good year with the Brewers. I think there's going to be a little less pressure on the Brewers in general, but he's still your main guy. I think in left field, I think he's at number 3. Ronnie Reza for the Rays. He's been really good. The Rays offense is better than what you think, and he's like right there as well. He's definitely a guy, I think. I don't know if he's going to hit 30 and 100 home runs, but he's definitely going to get you 25. He's, I think, one of the best, if not one of the best power hitters on this list. Definitely a guy I think that can do very well. Good defensively too. I like him defensively. I think like he's kind of not known as well for that, but I think I like him defensively when I have seen him. So definitely in the top 2 here. Number 1, Yordan Alvarez for the Astros. Astros have so many good players, man. And this is definitely one. Here's a guy, he's going to be in 130, 100 category. He's going to be right there for you. So I think they might have the corner outfielders are fantastic that they have. Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker. This guy, maybe a little bit older as he gets older. That's the only thing with him. He can maintain that, but there's no question here that he's the best left fielder in the MLB. Yordan Alvarez of the Astros. So there you go. Yordan Alvarez is there as well. So we got that taken care of as well.